Navalny and Russia's arsenal of exotic poisons. In the UK, two Russian ex-Secret Service agents were targeted. Alexander Litvinenko, fatally with radioactive plutonium-210 in 2016, and Sergei Skripal with the toxic nerve agent Novichok in 2018. The Kremlin denied any involvement. Alexei Navalny, who has been physically attacked before, appears to be the latest victim, yet much remains unclear. Mysterious poisonings involving regimens often remain mysterious. A distinct advantage for assassins compared with, say, an old-fashioned shooting in the street. Professor Mark Galati, a Regia expert at the Royal United Service Institute, told the BBC that poison has two characteristics: subtlety and threatility. It is so subtle that you can deny it or make it harder to prove. And it takes time to work. There's all kinds of agony, and the poisoner can deny it with a sly wink so everyone gets the hint. Thorn and Kremlin's side. Alexei Navalny is a Russian best-known anti-corruption campaigner and opposition activist. His slick, hard-hitting videos on social media have drawn many millions of views and made him a thorn in the side of the Kremlin. A victim poisoned before a long flight can be stuck in the air long enough for the assassination to make an easy getaway. Mr. Navalny, 44 years old, fell acutely ill on a flight from Tomsk in Siberia on a August 20th flight, so ill that it had to be diverted to Omsk. Russian investigative reporter, a Putin critic, Anna Plavskalskaya, shot dead in 2006, claimed to have been poisoned on a flight to North Caucasia in 2004 when she felt sick and fainted. Similarly, a slow-acting poison, plutonium-210, killed Litvinenko, excruciatingly, and it was weeks before a rare toxin was identified. As an alpha particle emitter, its radiation was not detected by a Geiger counter. The two allied Russian killers, state agents, according to the subsequent UK inquiry, had plenty of time to fly home unsuspected. Mr. Navalny has accumulated many enemies in Russia, not just among supporters of President Vladimir Putin, whose United Russia party he labels the party of crooks and thieves. Mr. Putin was a Secret Service officer in the Soviet KGB before becoming president in 2000. Mr. Galotti says that in this case, the Rujman state seems to have been caught off balance, which implies it wasn't a centrally planned operation. This suggests it was the act of a powerful Rujman, but not necessarily the state. Nerve agent symptoms now fight for his life in Berlin Charité Hospital. Mr. Navalny is in a induced coma, being treated for poisoning with a substance from a group of chlorothinesterase inhibitors. The hospital says the specific toxin remains unknown. Tests are being done to identify it, but the poison's effect inhibit on the enzyme chlorinesterase in the body was confirmed by multiple tests in independent laboratories. That is the effect of military nerve agents such as sarin, VX, or even more toxic Novichok. They interfere with the brain's chemical signals to the muscles, causing spasms, shortness of breath, heart palpitations, and collapse. Mr. Navalny's spokeswoman, Kira Yermishi, suspects that poison was slipped into the cup of black tea he drank at Tomskin Airport Cafe. He had not eaten anything before the flight, she says. That ominously echoes the case of Litvinenko, who drank poisoned tea in London hotel. A prominent anti-Putin activist based in the U.S., Vladimir Kara-Marza, says he suffered similar symptoms to Mr. Navalny's in 2015 and 2017. His alleged poisoning remains a mystery. Poison, he told the BBC, is becoming sort of a favored tool of the Rujman security service and a sadistic tool. It is excruciating to go through. I had to learn to walk again after the first poisoning and a coma. When the plane landed in Omsk on August 20th, medics rushed Mr. Navalny into intensive care, already comatose, and put him on a ventilator. Mr. Putin's spokesman, Dmitry Peskov, says the Berlin's doctor's diagnosis of poisoning is not yet conclusive, so it is too early to launch an official investigation. Earlier, he said to the Kremlin, wished Mr. Navalny well when permission was granted to fly him to Berlin. There is suspicion that the delay in Osmic before the Navalny's transfer to Berlin could have helped ease traces of the poisoning. The Osmic doctors have also been criticized for suggesting that the problem was a low blood sugar level and apparently failing to spot nerve agent symptoms. Dr. Konstantin Belnov, a U.S.-based anesthesiologist, told BBC Rushman that failure was strange, to say the least. Moscow toxicologists also consulted the Omsk doctors, and they must have concluded that it was a toxin from that chemical group. There are suspicions of a cover-up, as identified, police were quickly on the scene, blocking access. The doctors insisted that no poison was detected in Mr. Navalny's urine. It has emerged that atropine, an antidote to nerve agent, was administered in Omsk. But Mikhail Freemanmer, previously an intensive care specialist in St. Petersburg, said that in poisoning cases such as this, atropine must be given intravenously for a long period that may not have happened in Omsk. He told BBC, Russian, adding that the medical data has not been released. Professor Alistair Hay, a leading British toxicologist and chemical weapon expert, says this type of nerve agent is at the extremely toxic end of the broad spectrum of organophosphates. That large group of possible poisons make the agent already hard to identify. Some much milder organophosphates are used to insedate, and in medical therapies, it only requires small doses to kill someone, which can be effectively disguised in a drink, he told the BBC. There are yet more advantages from the assassin's point of view. A simple blood test doesn't tell you what the agent is. You need more sophisticated tests, very expensive equipment. Many hospital labs don't have that expertise, Professor Hayes said. In the UK, that capability is restricted to proton down, a high-security chemical and biochemical research center. The UK and Russia are among 190 signatories to the Global Chemical Weapon Convention, which bans chemical weapons use and research beyond small quantities, allowed for developing antidotes and protective equipment. After the Cold War, Russia destroyed its vast chemical weapons stockpile, about 40,000 tons, under international supervision, Professor Hay noted. Exotic chemicals were also used in some Cold War hits. For example, the notorious umbrella killing of Bulgarian anti-communist journalist Gregory Markov in London in 1978. At the time, Bulgaria was an ally of the Soviet Union. The suspected poison was ricin, released from the tiny pellet found in the autopsy. The killer had stabbed it straight into Marvok's bloodstream with the umbrella, and far more potent delivery method than he had swallowed it.